Hi, this is Peggy with Natural Awakening Chicago Magazine, and we are back continuing our series of Women in Wellness, celebrating women health professionals and business women throughout the month of May. And I'm so happy to be here this morning with Karyn Pettigrew with Beyond Blind Spots and Zoe Goes. She's an amazing entrepreneur and businesswoman, and I'm just so looking forward to talking with you, Karyn. Uh,
Yeah.
you have described yourself as inspiring you to live an extraordinary life on your terms. So, what does that mean?
Yeah. I think that everybody, instead of thinking about and comparing ourselves to other people, the whole idea is like, what for you? How would you define an extraordinary life? What does that look like for you?
Hmm.
And the on your terms piece is the extension of that. First, define what would extraordinary look or feel like to me? Not thinking about anybody else, not worried about what I think I should be doing, but what does that feel like to me? What might that look like? That's on your terms.
Yeah.
And once you've really defined that, you've seen it, and it includes all aspects: health, career, relationships, those quirky things that don't fall easily into any of those categories. What is that?
Yeah.
And defining it. And then choosing
Non-traditional
to,
sometimes.
yeah, it's non traditional. Actually, I think the majority of us would be living in hybrid situations
Hmm.
if we really stopped to allow ourselves to incorporate the things that make us us.
Hmm.
I think so many of us leave parts of ourselves off to the side or stuffed down or denied because we think it won't fit. And what I've discovered, what I believe, and it's part of the methodology that I teach, is that we have this thing I call a radical intersection. And that means that all the things that make you you, your passions, your aspirations, your admirations, your quirky bits, the things that you feel like are your calling,
Hmm.
make you you. And there's no way they can't come together because they've come together in you as a divine being. So they're meant to go together. Like our job is to figure out what path we'll use or take to
Hmm.
share that divinity with the rest of the world.
And your company, or one of your companies, is Beyond Blind Spots,
Hmm.
and you specialize in helping women to do that.
Yep.
And you've described yourself as a mystic in the midst.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. So the concept came to me a number of years ago. There was a time when our mystics and our spiritual leaders went away from the general public. You went to an ashram, a kibbutz, you went to a monastery or a convent, and you did your spiritual work with your peers,
Hmm.
but away.
Yeah.
So the deep sacred work was done away from the midst, like everyday
Behind
living.
walls, behind doors,
Yeah, behind walls, kind of secretive. It's like,
in
this is all
silence.
us. Yeah. And it's like, and it created a separation,
Hmm.
right? Because if I'm living in town down here, hauling water over my shoulder every day, and you're up there, albeit living minimally, but still up and away, like I don't have really a relationship. I have respect for you, but I
Hmm.
don't really have a relationship with you. And so even today, some of our most respected spiritual leaders, not that they have intentionally created that sense of separation, but I think we, as kind of the normal beings, if you will, feel like, ooh, that person is known to be such a sacred leader. I'm over here, they're over there. There's this separation between us. And mystic in the midst, I think, is an evolution of spiritual
Hmm.
awakening,
Yeah.
in that there are many people who are now starting to hit what we would traditionally call midlife, 40s, 50s, and they're going, I may be accomplished or not, but I'm feeling empty. Something's not right. Something's not enough. I may be flush with dollars or not, but I'm just not feeling like I'm making a difference, or what I'm doing isn't feeding me.
Hmm.
And what I believe is that spiritually, people are awakening after having lived traditional, conventional lives. Like I went to public school here in Chicago. I went away to college. I went to business school. I came back. I worked in corporate. Then I started doing my own work. Very typical.
Wrote a couple
Nothing.
books.
Yeah. There's nothing that sounds really unusual about that, except then I hit this place where I was a voracious reader. I was taking in anything related to mind, body, spirit alignment, and then develop this way of blending the two, traditional life with mind, body, spirit, ancient wisdom. And so the mystics in the midst are all of us who have walked traditional paths, but suddenly feel called or awakened to wanting to do or create more. And instead of being up on a mountain, you got to be right here on the front line in the middle of organization B or not-for-profit C or whatever. Like you're in it, you're in the midst of real life, still shining your light. And I actually think that that's how we evolve and almost infect other people with the knowing that they can be so much more, and they have a divine right to be here, and they have something very unique to offer the rest of us.
I think the term you used was a way shower.
Yeah. How to be a way shower to other people. And that is get in your thing and then walk it.
Yeah. So how do you do that every day?
Yeah. So part of it is in the work that I do on the coaching side, the Beyond Blind Spot side. Like I'm committed to helping people come into full expression and then to channel that, whether it's in their own business or back, as, a member of another, like working for someone else as a team, but to be more in full expression, more fully present. Because when we can do that, when we reclaim those parts of ourselves that we feel like don't fit or we hide them from other people, we are living in a much less empowered way because we know that there's parts of ourselves that we're not engaging. And the rest of the world gets cheated because those parts that you're hiding are what make you unique and can actually trigger and make something very different. And when we feel like we are living fully expressed, our vibration rises. And without even trying, we influence, infect people around us. All you have to do is live and walk your talk. And the people that come into that vibration lift up a little bit more. And to me, that's the key. So on the Beyond Blind Spot side, I'm walking my talk and teaching what I know. Now the walking my talk means I took the methodology I teach.
The Soul's Code to Business?
Soul's Code to Business and the Business Design Lab. And I built Zoe Goes. And Zoe Goes is a radical intersection of many things that make me me. Design, beauty, fashion, travel, women's empowerment, entrepreneurship, women in business, expression of who you are, right? And the planet, sustainability, and it all comes together in that business. So these two businesses are like in a symbiotic relationship. And so I feel fabulous every day doing what I love and then serving an audience that's looking for what I do.
And Zoe Goes?
Zoe Goes is a 6-piece sustainable capsule collection.
And you're wearing one of them now?
I am. I'm wearing my sweater, one of the spring sweaters that this is it's a tencel and like lycra combination organic cotton, and I don't even want to take them off, but all of the fabrics we use are sustainably produced. The top fabric is actually made from recycled plastic bottles, and it's a dream. It's so comfy, but the whole idea was to mix and match the pieces to get more with less. Yeah, so it's originally designed for travel, and it launched last March. Of course, the same week that we were put into shelter in place. So it's been a year of building, refining, understanding, um, helping people be gorgeous at home.
Yeah.
And then now that people are starting to move again, I'm starting to do pop-up shops and things like that.
Yeah. You just did one recently in Washington, D.C.
I'm headed to
Or
Washington
you're
at the
heading
end of
to
the month.
Washington. Okay.
Yeah, and then there's one in Chicago this weekend.
Great.
Hmm.
Great. Well, I think a lot of what we're talking about this morning probably amplified itself in this past year of
Hmm.
people trying to work from home, trying to come up with new ways of working and maybe not feeling at all fulfilled anymore, of women trying to go, but I've got so much I can offer.
Hmm.
Where do I start? So how would you work with them at that for people at those crossroads?
Yeah, so the soul's code to business, one of the ways that I like to say that I see people is like puzzle pieces.
Hmm.
We're all part of this kind of universal puzzle. And when you're working a puzzle and you get a piece and you think, oh, I think this goes right there. And you go to place it there in the puzzle, and some of the edges fit, but the other edges
Hmm.
don't. And you're like, oh, no, wait, this doesn't go there.
Yeah.
I think that's how most of us walk around. Like, we're very clear about who we are in certain aspects of our lives, but then other aspects are fuzzy and weedy and not tended to. The garden hasn't been pruned in a
Yeah.
long time. And so, what I like to do is remind people, I believe that we come to the planet with a blueprint, almost like DNA, of those aspirations, callings, quirks, talents, gifts, all that stuff embedded. There's a beautiful quote by Aristotle that says, "Show me the child of 7 and I will show you the man." And the premise there being that by the time we're 7, we've revealed ourselves.
Hmm.
We've shown our propensities. We've shown the things that we're drawn to. We've shown our natural inclinations. And if you are with people that have the eyes to see, they can help support that development. Most of us don't have that. We're still coming out of the post-industrialization age where we needed it to be as cookie cutter as possible.
Hmm.
So when I work with women, we take a step back and we explore. I have very specific sequence of questions that I ask that are designed to help them remember and to help call up what I call their truth.
Hmm.
And you can think of it. You may have seen this illustration before of there's a picture of an iceberg, and there's a portion of the iceberg that's above the water, but then there's this huge chunk that's underneath the
Underneath.
water.
Yeah.
And once again, I think that's how we live our lives. I think the rest of the world sees what's above the water, but what as the individual is all of that rich juiciness that's trapped under the
Mhm.
water, that's not expressed, that no one knows, that doesn't have value in the broader world because it's not communicated. So part of the process is just learning to articulate just how juicy and valuable we really are, and why the way that we do what we do is the way that we do what we do. And so there's a sequence of steps that we go through with the soul's code so that you can find what I call your true north. Like, what is true for you? And then once these different elements and aspects are revealed, it makes it so much easier to navigate your life, because what
Mhm.
happens is, using your learnings from the course, it's as things come up, you can say, does this move me closer to or further away from what I just discovered is true for me?
Yeah.
And we don't get as caught up. We don't get as distracted, as derailed, and we start to really, better able to own who we are. So those empowerment roots get deeper. If you think that you might want to start a business, or you have an existing business, then we cascade some of that learning over
Mhm.
into the business design lab. And there, the whole intention is to help you craft your unique niche. It's building businesses with soul. And that niche is going to be absolutely based on your soul code.
Yeah. And you help people start seeing that everything's happening for a reason. It's not just happening to you, but
Right.
you're active in how it's happening.
Right. It's not, a little while ago, I really committed to that concept. I'm like, I can't believe one day that the universe has my back and the next day be standing and wallowing in doubt. Like those two things just, it's so inconsistent and it doesn't make any sense. So I had to commit to like every day, every moment, the universe has my back. I have to remember that, and I have to remember to ask for what I need. But also, it led me to change my perspective about encounters and the things that come up and the way things unfold in my life, and that everything is happening for me. My job is to be the interpreter. My job is to be the observer. My job is to digest what's happening and look for how this situation, person, experience is making me better. Mm-hmm. And when I do that, I don't feel victimized.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so hard to keep that in mind some days.
It is. It's like a muscle. It's like intuition. You have to practice it. Mm-hmm. You have to trust it. You have to build it like a muscle, and then you learn to catch yourself. You know, when you start to feel like you're in a lower vibration, you have to catch yourself. And that's a discipline.
Yeah.
To me, that's really the work. I mean, we have a tendency to think about work happening outside of us, but no, it's really inner work. It's inner discipline. It's inner realizations.
Yeah. Working on ourselves versus working in ourselves.
Yeah.
So what's next for you?
Oh gosh. I feel like I've got enough to like kind of navigate right now. You know, I continue to offer the my coursework. I've got a new business design lab cohort opening the third week in June. So every other month I launch a new cohort that's coming up, and lots of pop-up shops with Zoe Goes to get awareness, build awareness, and kind of get it out there. And especially now that people are starting to travel a little bit. So, I mean, that's pretty much my summer right now, is teaching and selling beautiful, comfy. These are some of the most comfortable clothes I've ever been in. Every time I put this sweater on, or one of the sweaters on, I don't want to take it off.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. I'll point to your image here.
Oh,
this is part of the collection.
It is.
The scarf and the sweater and
yep. That was the pink sweater. It's called Rose. This is called Mint. And the scarves are an active piece of the entire collection. You know, I think we underestimate what we can do with it's 72 by 40 inches. So it's huge. It's like this big sheet.
Yeah.
And there are, I mean, I've come up with 25 ways to wear it. I'm sure there are more.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are more.
That sounds like a Facebook challenge right there.
Well, yeah, that would be really fun, wouldn't it? And they fold down to be like this big and, you know, half an inch thick. Perfect for travel.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Well, thank you so much, Karyn. I've so enjoyed talking with you this morning and the photo shoot, and look forward to continuing to work with you.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to just our continued relationship, and, you know, women living their lives in an empowered way.
Yes. Fabulous. Great. Thank you so much.
Yep.